All right, so strap in because we're taking a deep dive into a company with a story that sounds like it's straight out of Hollywood.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking about Astra. They went from being valued at billions of dollars to being practically written off.
Oh, wow.
Everyone thought they were done, finished.
Right.
But then they snagged this Department of Defense contract worth millions.
Uh-huh.
So is this a real comeback story or just some temporary blip?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Right.
You're right to be skeptical.
Okay.
Astra's definitely had its fair share of struggles.
For sure.
And the space industry is kind of notorious for chewing up and spitting out companies that can't keep up.
Yeah, that's true.
But this DoD contract,
Right.
this isn't just like a little pat on the back.
Yeah.
This suggests that something bigger, something more transformative could be happening.
So walk us through it. How did Astra go from a $2.6 billion valuation to practically being left for dead?
Well, to put it bluntly, the journey to rock bottom was paved with a whole lot of exploding rockets.
Oh.
5 out of their first 7 orbital launch attempts failed,
Really?
which is rough.
Yeah.
You know, investors are used to seeing those Silicon Valley returns,
Right.
not fiery crashes.
Yeah, definitely not that.
Their valuation plummeted to just $25 million.
Oh, my gosh.
And then eventually they went private for a measly 50 cents a share.
Ouch.
Yeah, talk about a nosedive.
Yeah, that's got to sting.
It does.
So at this point, everyone's thinking Astra's done right.
Pretty much, yeah.
But then they pull out this ambitious new project, Rocket 4,
Yeah.
designed to carry much heavier payloads into orbit,
Uh-huh.
600 kilograms to low Earth orbit, to be precise.
Ambitious.
How'd you
Were
know?
people buying it?
Honestly, there's a lot of eye rolling going on after so
Predicts.
many very public mishaps.
Yeah.
The idea that they could successfully build and launch a bigger, more complex rocket just
Right.
seemed like a bit of an overreach,
Yeah, I can imagine.
to say the least.
Yeah, so then what happened?
Well, then we get a plot twist.
First, the U.S. Space Force gives them a task order for this Rocket 4
Okay.
to launch the STP-S29B mission.
Right.
And then on top of that, the Defense Innovation Unit, which is part of the DoD,
Right.
gives them a grant worth up to $44 million
What?
for what they call a tactically responsive launch system.
Wow. Suddenly everyone's paying attention.
Suddenly, everyone's paying attention. Exactly.
So is this just free money?
No. Let's be very clear.
Right.
This isn't just a handout.
Right.
Astra has got to prove that they can deliver.
Okay.
They've got very specific milestones to hit to actually unlock that full funding.
I see.
It is a show of confidence,
Yeah.
but it's also a very high-pressure test.
So what is it about Astra that has the DoD so interested? Why are they betting on this company that has such a shaky past? What's so special about their approach, especially when we're talking about the defense sector?
I think it can be summed up in one word:
Okay.
mobility.
Mobility.
Astra is aiming to launch from practically anywhere. Yeah, using these mobile launch systems
Wow.
that are housed in shipping containers.
What?
No more reliance on those big fixed launch sites.
So they can deploy quickly,
Rapidly.
from anywhere in the world.
With the right infrastructure, pretty much anywhere.
Yeah, that's a game changer.
For sure, especially for tactical situations where speed and flexibility are essential.
It's like having a rocket launch pad on demand, deploy anywhere, anytime.
Yep.
And the military has to love that.
Especially in today's unpredictable world.
Oh, yeah.
So give me the strategic breakdown.
Okay.
How does this mobile launch capability actually change the game for the military?
Well, think about it.
Okay.
Traditional launch sites, they're very vulnerable. They're
Okay.
big fixed targets that are pretty easy to track and potentially disrupt.
Uh-huh.
But with Astra's mobile launch system, you're introducing this whole other level of unpredictability,
Right.
which is invaluable in today's world.
It's like a guerrilla warfare approach to space.
You can pop up anywhere, launch your assets, and disappear.
Right.
Your adversaries can never be sure where you're going to be.
Exactly. Keeps them guessing.
So it's not just about being harder to target.
Right.
It's about that rapid deployment, too.
Oh, for sure.
Which is essential in a crisis.
Absolutely.
Imagine being able to launch surveillance satellites over a conflict zone
Yeah.
within hours of a situation escalating.
Game changer.
Or deploying communication relays to a disaster area where infrastructure has been completely wiped out.
Totally.
It's like having a space-based rapid response force.
Yeah, it is a pretty powerful capability.
So we've got this company,
Yeah.
this underdog,
Underdog for sure.
with this really innovative approach that's caught the interest of the DoD,
Uh-huh.
but can they actually pull it off?
That's the question, isn't it?
What's their financial situation looking like? Can they actually pull off these ambitious plans that they have?
Well, that is the multi-million-dollar question, literally.
Okay.
They're currently seeking $50 million
Yeah.
in Series B funding.
Okay.
And they've laid out some very bold launch targets.
Like what?
They're thinking 1 launch in 2025,
Okay.
4 in 2026,
And then?
ramping up to a whopping 31 launches per year by 2029.
Hold on, 31 launches a year. That's a huge jump from where they are now.
It is.
And they're aiming to be profitable within 2 years based on their launch and spacecraft engine business.
That's the goal.
I mean, are they being realistic, or is this just wishful thinking?
Let's just say there's a healthy dose of skepticism coming from investors.
Yeah.
I mean, they've heard these promises before.
Right.
And Astra's track record isn't exactly confidence-inspiring,
For sure.
but there's also this glimmer of possibility that what if they actually pull it off?
Yeah.
Feeling that keeps people watching.
Okay, so we've got ambitious plans,
Uh-huh.
a somewhat shaky track record,
Yeah.
and the DoD giving them a shot.
Yep.
But there's also this engine mystery surrounding Rocket 4.
There is, right?
Right.
Fill us in. Okay, so initially there was all this buzz about Astra using engines from Firefly Aerospace,
Okay.
which made sense, partner up with a company that already has a proven engine.
Seems like a smart move.
It does.
So what happened?
Well, Firefly got acquired by AE Industrial Partners,
Huh.
and the deal fell apart.
Oh, wow.
So Astra decided to go it alone.
Really?
Yeah, they're developing their own engine.
Wow.
They're even incorporating a 3D printed combustion chamber.
Okay. That's pretty cutting edge.
It is.
That's a bold move, especially considering their past struggles with quality control.
It is.
And speaking of quality control, you can't really talk about Astra without addressing those launch failures.
No, you can't.
Has anything changed? Are they doing anything differently this time around?
Well, their CEO, Chris Kemp, seems to acknowledge that they've learned some hard lessons.
Okay.
He's really been emphasizing quality control as a top priority.
Good.
And they even brought in Jim Mazur as a advisor.
And who's that?
Well, he's got this stellar reputation for ensuring quality, having worked at Sea Launch, Pratt & Whitney, and even SpaceX.
Wow. So they brought in a real veteran to help them avoid making those same mistakes.
Yeah, you could say that.
So let's break down this 3D printed combustion chamber a little bit more.
Okay.
What's the big deal about that?
Well, it's all about speed and efficiency.
Okay.
3D printing lets them prototype and test different designs really quickly,
Uh-huh.
which could potentially speed up their whole development process.
Right.
And it also gives them more control over the manufacturing process.
Okay.
So potentially higher quality components.
So it's not just a cool tech gimmick.
No,
It's a strategic advantage.
it is.
It's a sign that they're not just trying to repeat what didn't work.
Right.
They're innovating.
Yeah.
They're trying to improve.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've got a company with a bumpy past,
For sure.
a new engine,
Mm-hmm.
some pretty cool tech,
Yeah.
and a renewed focus on quality.
Right.
But how does all this translate into actual capabilities? What exactly are these 4 launch markets that Astra is targeting?
Okay, so they're aiming to capture a piece of the pie in 4 key areas.
Okay.
Deploying and maintaining mega constellations,
Okay.
reaching unique orbits, and enabling tactical point-to-point delivery and hypersonic capabilities.
Okay. I think we need to unpack some of that.
Yeah, some of that's a little jargony.
It is. So what exactly are we talking about here?
Okay, so first you've got mega constellations.
Okay.
So think massive networks of satellites.
Like Starlink.
Exactly, like Starlink,
Okay.
providing global internet coverage
Right.
or Earth observation data.
Okay.
Astra wants to be the go-to launch provider for those mega constellations.
So both for the initial deployment
Yes,
and then the ongoing maintenance.
exactly.
Okay, then what about unique orbits?
So not all satellites are meant to go into the same orbital path.
Right.
Some have very specific requirements based on their mission.
Okay.
And Astra is aiming to cater to that very specialized market, offering launches tailored to those unique orbits.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So then what about the tactical point-to-point delivery and hypersonics?
Yeah, that one's a little more intense.
It does sound pretty intense.
Essentially about using space to move things quickly across the globe.
Okay.
So imagine delivering critical supplies to a disaster zone
Okay.
within hours,
Wow.
or transporting sensitive equipment to a military outpost with pinpoint accuracy.
Okay.
And then hypersonics play into this as well.
Right.
So think vehicles that can travel at many times the speed of sound,
Oh, wow.
using space as part of their trajectory.
Okay.
So it's really cutting-edge stuff,
Yeah.
with major implications for both civilian and military applications.
So they're not just launching satellites. They're
Mm.
aiming to create this whole space-based transportation network.
Yeah, it's a pretty bold vision.
It is.
It is.
So how does all of this tie back into the DoD's interest in them?
Mm-hmm.
What are they seeing in Astra that makes them such a valuable partner in this very rapidly evolving space landscape?
I think it comes down to a few key factors.
Okay.
First, there's this increasing demand for smaller payloads
Yeah.
to be launched into a wider variety of orbits.
Okay.
Traditional launch providers,
Yeah.
they're often focused on larger satellites.
Right.
And the more established orbits,
Uh-huh.
Astra's trying to fill that gap
Okay.
by offering a more flexible and responsive solution.
Makes sense.
And then, of course, there's the whole mobile launch capability,
Right.
the ability to deploy quickly and from unexpected locations. That's incredibly valuable in a world where space is becoming more and more contested.
Yeah, it's getting crowded up there.
It is.
That's for sure.
It gives the DoD a tactical edge,
Okay.
allows them to launch assets on their own terms
Yeah.
without being tied to those fixed launch sites.
So it's about agility
Yes.
and adaptability
Mm.
in a domain that's traditionally been very rigid and predictable.
Yeah.
Actually, Astra's offering a way to disrupt the status quo.
And the DoD is clearly taking notice.
Oh, yeah, they are.
This is all fascinating stuff.
It is.
But I want to shift gears a little bit.
Okay.
We've talked about the technical aspects,
Uh-huh.
the financial projections,
Yeah.
and the DoD's involvement.
Right.
But what about the human element?
Okay.
What's the culture like at Astra?
Mm.
What's driving the people who are trying to pull off what seems like an impossible comeback?
It's interesting. You can almost feel a sense of resilience in everything they do. They've faced some major setbacks, but they haven't given up.
Okay.
Chris Kemp, their CEO.
Right.
He often talks about the importance of learning from failure and this unwavering belief in their mission.
Right.
They've put together this amazing team of engineers and technicians who are all so passionate about space and driven to succeed.
It's that classic underdog story.
Yeah.
It's a group of people who refuse to give up.
Even when the odds are stacked against them.
Yeah, and there's something really inspiring about that.
There is.
And it's this reminder that innovation often comes from those who are willing to challenge conventional wisdom.
Right.
And push the boundaries of what's possible.
Absolutely.
And Astra's journey is a testament to that spirit.
Yeah.
That perseverance.
Yeah.
The belief that even when things seem impossible,
Yeah.
there's always a way forward.
I love that.
Yeah, me too. And it's that drive to push boundaries that really makes Astra stand out.
Yeah.
That we talked about their mobile launch capability.
Right.
But let's kind of dig a little deeper into what that actually means.
Okay.
Imagine a world where you don't need those massive fixed launch sites, where you can take a rocket launch system anywhere.
Wow.
With the right infrastructure, of course.
So anywhere.
Yeah.
That's pretty radical.
It is a pretty radical shift for the space industry.
It's like the difference between having a dedicated railway line and a fleet of helicopters. One is fixed, the other can go pretty much anywhere.
Exactly.
So how does this kind of mobility actually change the game for the military?
Well, let's think about it this way.
Okay.
Traditional launch sites,
Uh-huh.
they're vulnerable.
Yeah. Big sitting ducks.
Yeah, big fixed targets that are relatively easy to track and disrupt.
Right.
With Astra's mobile launch system, you're introducing this level of unpredictability.
Yeah.
That's incredibly valuable in today's world.
It's like a guerrilla warfare approach to space.
Is
You
it?
can pop up anywhere, launch your assets, and then disappear.
Exactly.
And your adversaries can never be 100% sure where you're going to be.
Right. Keeps them guessing.
And it's not just about being harder to target.
No.
It's also about that rapid deployment.
Oh, for sure.
Which we know is critical in a crisis situation.
Absolutely.
Imagine being able to launch surveillance satellites over a conflict zone.
Yeah.
Within hours of things escalating.
Rapid response.
Or deploying communication relays to a disaster area where the infrastructure has been wiped out.
Yeah. That's key.
So it really is like having a space-based rapid response force.
It is, and it's a pretty powerful capability.
And I imagine this kind of technology,
Yeah.
it's not just limited to military applications.
No, definitely not.
This kind of mobile launch tech could revolutionize how we do scientific research.
Yeah, think about it.
Imagine being able to launch experiments
Yeah.
to study like remote regions of the Earth or even other planets
Right.
without being tied to just a handful of fixed launch sites.
Totally.
You could launch from the middle of the desert,
You could.
the Arctic,
Yeah.
even a ship at sea.
If you had to.
Yeah, it opens up a whole world of possibilities.
It really does.
And it's not just about where you can launch from, but
Right.
when you can launch.
Exactly.
Traditional launch schedules,
Yeah.
they're often really constrained by weather conditions, other factors.
All sorts of things.
With mobile launch, you've got so much more flexibility.
So much more.
You can launch when the time is right, not just when the launch window allows.
Exactly.
So we're talking about
Increased speed,
flexibility,
and resilience.
resilience. It sounds like Astra is really pushing the boundaries here
Oh, they are.
of what's possible when it comes to space access.
Yeah, and it's not just about the technology itself.
Okay.
It's about the vision behind it.
Uh-huh.
The idea of making space more accessible,
Right.
more adaptable,
Yeah.
more responsive to the needs of both civilian and military users.
So we've covered Astra's technology,
Yes.
their ambitions, and the potential impact on the space industry as a whole.
Right.
But I think it's important to step back
Okay.
and kind of look at the bigger picture here.
Yeah, what do you mean?
What's the geopolitical context surrounding all of this? How does Astra fit into this evolving landscape of global space activity?
That is a great question.
Thanks.
I think we're seeing a fundamental shift in how nations are approaching space.
In what way?
It's no longer just about national prestige or scientific exploration.
Oh, okay.
Space is becoming increasingly militarized,
Right.
and there's a growing recognition of its strategic importance, for economic competitiveness,
Right.
national security,
Okay.
even global power dynamics.
So we're witnessing a new space race,
We are.
but this time the stakes are even higher.
Oh, yeah, much higher.
In Astra's technology,
Yeah.
it's emerging at a pretty pivotal moment.
It is.
Their focus on this mobile launch capability.
Their ability to rapidly deploy assets to a wide range of orbits.
Yeah.
It aligns perfectly with this evolving geopolitical landscape.
So they're kind of providing a capability that's perfectly suited to this new era of space competition.
Yeah, you could say that.
But it's not just about competition, is it?
Not necessarily.
It's also about cooperation.
Yeah, for sure.
Astra's technology could be a crucial part of international collaborations, disaster relief efforts, even planetary defense missions.
Oh, yeah. There's so many possibilities.
It's a pretty versatile capability that
Yeah.
has the potential to benefit all of humanity.
For sure, not just individual nations.
It's a good reminder that space is a global commons,
It is.
and that our actions up there have implications for everyone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We need to be mindful of that.
We do as we move forward.
Totally.
So we've talked about the geopolitical context,
Yeah.
but let's bring it back to Astra's journey specifically.
Okay.
They faced some serious challenges. They've had to reinvent themselves.
Right.
And now they're at this crucial juncture. What do you think is the biggest hurdle they need to overcome to really achieve that sustainable comeback?
I think it all comes down to trust.
Trust.
They need to prove to investors, to
Yeah,
customers,
yeah.
to the broader public,
Yeah.
that they've learned from their past mistakes
Okay.
and that they're actually capable of delivering on their promises.
So it's not just about the technology.
Yeah.
It's about building a reputation for reliability and consistency.
Exactly. They need to show that they can launch rockets safely and successfully,
Okay.
that they can meet those ambitious launch targets,
Right.
and that they can manage their finances responsibly.
Yeah, if they can do all of that.
Then I think they have a real shot
Yeah.
at becoming a major player in this industry.
It's a high-stakes game.
Oh, it is.
There's really no room for error.
No.
But it's also an incredible opportunity.
For sure.
If they can pull this off,
Yeah.
they could rewrite the rules of the game and open up space to a whole new range of possibilities.
It's a story that's still being written.
It is.
And it's a story that highlights the incredible potential of human ingenuity.
Determination.
Yeah. And that relentless pursuit of pushing boundaries.
It's a reminder that even when things seem impossible,
Yeah.
there are always those who dare to dream big and reach for the stars.
Absolutely.
It's interesting, isn't it?
What's that?
We always think about the space industry as all this cutting-edge technology,
Yeah.
billion-dollar rockets,
Right.
larger-than-life personalities. But Astra's story, it reminds us that it's really about people.
Oh, absolutely.
The grit and determination of the people behind these ambitious ventures.
It is, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's people who design, build, and launch these rockets.
Right.
It's people who make those critical decisions,
Yeah.
who face those high-pressure moments, and who ultimately determine whether a company succeeds or fails.
And in Astra's case, they've definitely seen both sides of that coin.
They have.
But what really stands out to me is their ability to just bounce back.
I agree.
To learn from those experiences and keep pushing forward.
Yeah, that kind of resilience.
Yeah.
That's what often separates the companies that make history from those that just fade away.
I think resilience is absolutely key in this industry.
Oh, it is?
Space is unforgiving. There's no room for complacency.
No.
No margin for error.
Yep.
You have to be willing to adapt, to innovate.
Yeah, to constantly push the boundaries of what's possible.
And you have to be able to pick yourself up and dust yourself off when things inevitably go wrong.
Because they will.
And speaking of things going wrong, let's address the elephant in the room again.
Okay.
Astra's past launch failures.
Right.
How much of a shadow do you think that casts over their future? Will investors and customers be willing to overlook those past mistakes?
Oh, okay.
Or will that history continue to haunt them?
Well, it's definitely a valid concern.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to see their investment go up in smoke.
Right.
And reliability is everything in this industry.
It is.
But I think there are a couple things that are working in their favor.
Okay, what are those?
Well, first, there's this growing understanding that failure is often just a part of the innovation process.
Right, especially in a field as complex and challenging as space.
Especially in space, yeah.
Setbacks are almost inevitable.
I'd say they're pretty much guaranteed.
It's how you learn from them.
Yeah.
And adapt your approach.
That's what matters.
It's not about avoiding failure altogether.
Right.
It's about how you respond to it.
Yes. Use those experiences to improve.
And I think Astra has shown that they're willing to do that.
I think so, too.
They brought in experts like Jim Mazur to focus on that quality control.
Yeah.
Redesign their rocket with reliability in mind.
They have.
And they've been transparent about the lessons they've learned.
And that transparency goes a long way.
It does. It shows they're not trying to hide from their past.
No, they're owning it.
Yeah. They're using it to build a better, stronger company.
For sure.
So they're addressing their past.
Yeah.
But what about their future?
Okay.
We've talked about these ambitious launch target, financial projections.
Yeah.
Do you think they're actually achievable? Or are they setting themselves up for disappointment?
Well, it's definitely ambitious.
It is.
To go from launching just a few rockets to 31 launches a year in just a few years, that's a massive undertaking. And to achieve profitability in such a competitive market, that's not easy.
So are you saying it's impossible?
No, I don't think it's impossible.
Okay.
But you have to remember that the space industry is evolving so rapidly.
Yeah, that's true.
There's a growing demand for launch services.
Okay.
Particularly for these smaller payloads.
Right.
And those more specialized orbits. And Astra's focus on mobility and responsiveness, that gives them a real edge.
So they're betting on being the right company at the right time.
Yeah, with the right capabilities.
And it's a bet that could really pay off.
It could.
If they can execute on their plans.
Yes.
And demonstrate that consistent reliability, they could disrupt this whole market.
They could.
And become a major player in the space industry.
Sure.
It's exciting to think about the possibilities.
It is.
If Astra succeeds, it could really open up space access.
To a whole new range of players.
Yeah, exactly. From small startups to research institutions to even private individuals.
That would be amazing.
It could truly democratize access to space.
It could, and that would have profound implications for scientific discovery, technological innovation. Even for our understanding of our place in the universe.
It's a good reminder that the space industry is about so much more.
It is.
Than just rockets and satellites.
Right.
It's about pushing the boundaries of human ingenuity.
Yes.
Exploring the unknown.
Absolutely.
Inspiring future generations to reach for the stars.
Well said.
Astra's journey is a reminder that even in the face of adversity, even when the odds seem totally stacked against you.
It's true.
It's possible to achieve extraordinary things if you dare dream big and never give up.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, thanks for joining me on this deep dive into the world of Astra.
Oh, it was my pleasure.
It's been a fascinating journey.
It has.
And I can't wait to see what the future holds for this ambitious company.
Me neither.